Hey folks, so I wasn't planning on actually streaming very much today. I've been fucking with my audio and video settings, and so this is kind of a test of that. Um, so please, if there are any audio or video issues that you run into, besides my focus, I have to manually adjust my focus to actually get it to be worth anything. Please say something in the chat. As you can see right there, I have my phone up. I can see what's going on in the chat without having to look at my computer. Though I will be looking at the computer to adjust focus as need be. So let's just get on with what I was planning on doing today. So previously on X-Men, I had started work on I had continued work on one of my pinheads, and I had fucked up and had a wash with really, really bad tide rings around the eye. And I considered going back and fixing it with the oil paints. And that's something that I may end up doing at a later date. But considering these pinheads are just for practice, I opted to just re-prime the whole thing, start fresh, and then you guys can kind of see the whole process of me painting one of these little guys up. I have two available. I had previously been working on this guy, but I think today I'm gonna knock out another bald head guy because he's a little bit easier, so I can do it a little bit faster. So first things first, I need to prime some stuff. That's going to involve the airbrush, which will be kind of noisy. I apologize. There's really no other option besides muting my channel, which nobody really wants that, right? So I tend to do a 3-part zenithal priming. So let's reach back there. We got black, gray, and white, which I need to knock some shit off the back wall there. If you see things falling, I've got a so right there you've got. Let's just adjust my focus so you can see it. So this is closer. So way back there you can see Molly squid pages that I should probably clean up and just mount. Old metal model, I fucking love it. And then the stuff that had fallen off is some Wild West Exodus stuff. I'll get to that for sure. I have an entire like the Lawman half of the Wild West Exodus starter set that needs to be painted up. Some of it's in a partial state, but mostly it needs just to be done. So, but back to priming. So I do a 3-part zenithal priming, which is probably overkill for something of a tabletop level. But it's what I like to do. So I've got my 3 Stynylrez primers. I really like this stuff. I haven't actually ordered any of it. I won this at the 2016 Las Vegas Open, and I've been very, very happy with it. So right now I've just got my airbrush here. First thing I put in is just regular water. It's already in there, and I need my spray cup. Move some stuff out of the way so you guys don't have to deal with it. Got a spray cup, and then I have my Gatorade bottle that I dump everything into. So first things you should always do with the airbrush. Always use regular water first and last out of your airbrush. I'm sure there's some special reason why for that, but really it's just good practice. Drop some airbrush thinner in there, a couple of drops of it. This is the bottle from the Vallejo airbrush thinner. I like that stuff, but not as much as I like just making my own out of distilled water and flow aid, and maybe a drying retarder. Okay, so in the future, I use clear or future for everything. And then we'll start with black. Um, I'm not on the. I don't have a basement with wood cement floors, wooden floors. So I'm on old hardwood. So as I move, things will shake. I'm also a big guy. That's a real issue. So you can probably see in the cup there. I'm just gonna backflow to mix. And then just verify that I've got some coming out. So if you're not familiar with an airbrush, which honestly you should be, you don't want spidering. Spidering is terrible. So I have a valve on my brush that I can turn down the PSI. And thanks to thinning, I don't have to have a whole lot of air pressure to do what I need to do. Because I don't want a ton of primer on this model, we're going to hit, just go angles. So I'm going to do black just from the bottom. Do a couple passes. So if you can see, you adjust some focus for it. So it's boring as hell right now, but I only have primer from the bottom. That's where the shadows are going to be. So then out with the primer. And move on to gray. In my priming steps, I don't worry a whole lot about cleaning out my cup. I mean, I'm wiping it down with a paper towel, and I'll blow some clean water through it. But the truth is, like, if I end up with a slightly darker priming, it's not the end of the world. Turn up the pressure on the airbrush and spray like crazy. Back and forth a bit. Just move shit around. So I really hope this is actually broadcasting. Previously I had an issue where only people following could chat in the chat room. That sucked. And so nobody was saying anything. Hopefully that's been resolved, but then nobody's saying anything now. I'm not saying you should say something, but I don't know you're here unless you are saying something. So yeah, back to the thinner. Couple drops. Boop, boop, boop. Couple drops of future. Doop, doop. And gray primer. Ratios aren't something I care about a whole lot. Some people do. I care that it works. So I get my gray out. I'll just get back to where you guys can see it, and might not actually have enough primer here. In there just to be safe. Yeah, and primer. There we go. So here's something to watch out for. Sometimes your PSI gets so low that you only can spray on the out. You end up with speckling. I mean, I'm going to end up speckling no matter what, but try to reduce this as much as possible. Okay. So to reduce speckling, I had this old brush, so there's some alcohol in there. Clean it off. Not great. We'll just deal with it. or work with it, not deal with it. So now I'm spraying from about a 45. I don't really care so much what my angle is, so long as I'm not totally covering up the black from below. But I mean, this is the prime job, so dump it out, clean it out, and move on to white. I need to have a better solution than crossing in front of the camera for everything. Guess I can put it over there on the palette. I'm not really using it right now. In just a moment, I'm going to jump over to the Twitch site and see if my phone is showing me what it should be showing me. Oh hey, yeah, I've got two watchers, 3 watchers. Awesome. You just type a note in there so I don't have to keep saying this. So we're down to the white primer, backflow to get it, turn down the PSI, and now I'm going to hit it from the top. Historically, white speckles more than anything else, so I tend to over-thin it, even more than I need to. The airbrush is being kind of shitty right now. So I have my camera on the side here mounted on the same stand as my airbrush. So when that shakes, I'm putting my airbrush back. Show you what I'm working with now. Zenithal primed Space Marine head. And now we're going to get into the fun stuff. When I do my flesh, I like to do a Verdaccio base coat or underpainting. I don't know if it comes out at the very end, if it makes any huge difference, but it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm actually some sort of artist. And as this isn't my day job, painting miniatures is entirely for my own pleasure. So we're going to keep doing that. And the way that I do my Verdaccio is through washes. Well, through washes straight through the airbrush as a filter. Let's get some alcohol. So this, I use rubbing alcohol for cleaning my airbrush. It is significantly cheaper than airbrush cleaner. And I found that it breaks up acrylic significantly better. At least fresh acrylic. I've not had to deal with, like, well, no, I use it to strip minis as well, so I absolutely use it for everything. Knock the camera. It's embarrassing. Okay. See if I can move my mouse closer. Put it somewhere that is easy to get to so I can adjust the focus. That's way better. So just getting here, I have to manually adjust my focus because my the autofocus doesn't seem to pick up really close. I'm sure part of that is that I have about 2 feet between me and my wall back there, and that's quite a bit. This camera's probably made to focus on things about that far away, so it's like, hey, that's my preferred distance. Let's just focus there. Good for you, camera, but you're not doing what I need you to do. So thinner and future, and then where are my 2 paints? So I do my Verdaccio filter with P3's Armor Wash, and there you are. Vallejo's Model Wash for green vehicles. Equal parts of both, because I try to. These, while I love dropper bottles, these particular dropper bottles are not as reliable as they should be. So just 2 drops of each. Bam. Bam. And it's partially because this is dirty as hell. Like, I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't. As far as dropper bottles go, I actually think this is my favorite. It has like the front facing little hole, lots of room for spillage so it doesn't get all gummed up like other ones do. Backflow to mix. And so the color that I'm putting out is this green-gray color. Which if you're an actual painter, you'd be like, that is way too light for Verdaccio. But we just did the underpaint, the zenithal priming, so we kind of gain a little bit there too. You see, I'm priming the same way that I'm doing my underpainting the same way I did my priming. Just from the bottom here. Because Verdaccio, unless I'm putting a whole lot of effort into it, it's really just for the coloring of the shadows. Need a different airbrush holder. So let's get this back where you can see it. Just focus so it makes sense. So didn't add a whole lot to it. Just some green under there, and the color is not being great either. I've got this auto white balance, and let's see if I can fix that. So the world is cold. That looks fairly accurate to me. Yeah, my glass palette back there is blue. It totally fucks with colors. So there's the Verdaccio. And then I hit from the top with Reaper's Maggot White. It's actually a green white. For some reason, I like having my models green before I get too deep into them. So, that's out the cup. Not too worried about the whole mixing of my greens, the green gray to the maggot white. Some rinse water. Now I'm using actual paint. Maggot white doesn't like to drip as cleanly as the washes do. That may have been too much. Go fill through my brushes really quick. I've got a Ninja Turtle pint glass that I use for brushes, and somewhere I have a really, really shitty liner brush. There we go. This is a shitty liner brush. It's like $1 or less. That was really clear. I like using liner brushes to mix all my stuff in here when I'm not backflowing. And paint doesn't mix as cleanly as like primer does. Yeah, I use the liner brush because it's long bristles, so it can get way down there in the bottom. Still backflow a little bit. So like, I don't know if you can see that. It's not the greatest. It's kind of like this milky green gray. Mostly white, but it's milky. And I'm going to blast it down from the top. Get those edges back in. So it looks like it's another little highlighting on the thing, but it's green now. It's not just black and white. So let's see if I have some room on this palette. We can start doing some other stuff. Focus. This is a dirty palette, but I think it is my last cut parchment paper, so we're going to deal with it. So next step is blocking in the like the facial tones. And there's an image going around that I'll look for, so if people care, or the next time I do this, I can pop it up and be like, hey, this is what I'm using. But the image going around talks about how the facial tones, everything from like the nose down is blue, everything around the eyes is red, and the forehead's yellow. And then something I've noticed just through my own personal observation is that the area around the eyes is green. Saw the thing pop up. My wife's talking about a new puppy that we got. If you care about the new puppy, maybe I'll bring him in here and let you see him. Just speak up. It's a little poodle puppy. He is about as sweet and awesome as poodle puppies can be. So, back to what I was talking about. So we're going to work our way down the head. And there's no rhyme or reason to that besides, one, yellow is overpowering. And so if I fuck it up, I can start it over. So I'm going to use Minotaur Ghost Tint Yellow because it is a very, very clear yellow to begin with. Just one drop of that. So I don't like spraying the ghost tints. A lot of people might call me some sort of blasphemer for that. But the truth is, I don't feel like they're very good airbrush paints. However, I feel like they're pretty excellent starting points for washes. So, we get a brush in here, all up in here. So just wash this so far with Future. So you can see the thumb. Thumbs are a great place to test your washes. As you can see, this is still too bright, I guess, too dark, too heavy, too much yellow. I'm not sure exactly the proper. It's too opaque. There we go. Yeah, I use my brushes to mix my paints. Gets all up in the ferrule. People cringe. So it's still pretty yellow. But if you can see, I clearly use brushes from Michael, so this costs like $4. I do have a Winsor Newton Series 7 over in my cup. It is still in its tube. I am actually afraid of getting it out. Alright. So we're just going to hit the forehead with this yellow. And it's not going to be very apparent. The idea is that it's just going to tint the forehead, the layers below, the layers that will go above this. I'm going to tint them yellow. So the problem with the image going around is the thing that they drew only covers the face. I don't actually know what the top of a head is supposed to look like as far as color tones, so we're just going to assume that it's yellow too. But that's all the yellow we're going to get. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, not a whole lot there. Very, very subtle. And the camera is not super color accurate to begin with. So next we're going to do the red. For that one, I have a Vallejo red shade game color wash. But we'll treat it the same way on the palette. Now red, I'm not too worried about it being overpowering. I'm still going to thin it, but I'm not worried that it's going to be as terrible as the yellow. So the thing with the yellow versus red and versus blue is yellow, if you have too much of it, your guy looks jaundiced. He looks like his kidneys are shutting down, and that was probably too much water. Anyway, it looks like his kidneys are shutting down, and it's not happy. He's not living a happy life. Thumbnail, probably good. I guess the upside of having white paper here too is that I can just paint on it to see what things look like. I am one of those thumb painter guys. I will paint on my thumb all day. So I'm going to get the red here, all up in the eye sockets, across the upper cheekbones. And then I'm also going to hit the ears with the red because my ears are red. He only has one ear. Sweet. And I'm going to hit this ring around the back of his head too as well because I feel like as a bald guy, this is me talking as a bald guy, that part of my head is probably toned red. There's no 5 o'clock shadow. I mean, there might be. Maybe I'll do that later. So you can kind of see in the picture that he's got some red up by his nose, and I don't want to cover his actual nose with the red. The bridge of your nose is toned white with the exception of the very, very, very tip. I can go back and hit that with oils if I feel like this guy is deserved of them. So we'll move on to the blue. And again, blue, I have a lot of blues that I can choose from, but blue shade, game color. See this big old mix over here of blue? That's P3 ink thinned to a blue wash. And I kind of like it. So, a little bit of Future. So the benefit of using Future as a wash thinner is it's an acrylic. It's kind of like acrylic fluid by itself. But it's a little bit more fluid than your acrylic medium. What it's going to allow, it allows the pigments to float in the medium better. Ah, man, somebody is hosting me. Thank you, Orcrist01, for up to 29 viewers. That would be really, really awesome if I got any of them. Ah, man, I was just rated by Orcs. And hey, spam techs, probably have almost a full second of delay on my videos, so I said hi right as the thing popped up. I swear. And I was rated by Orcs. That's shitty. I mean, it's really awesome, but now I have Orcs all up in my chat. So yeah, I'm doing the, it goes really well. How you doing, Orcrist? Orcrist? Just painting up a little Space Marine head right here. Doing my the facial tones right now, which I will airbrush over. So let's adjust the, pull this back, maybe you guys can see a little bit better. And my focus. So yeah, red cheeks, a little bit of yellow forehead. Like, it's very, very subtle, and that's fine. Oh yeah, you like to separate Space Marine heads as well, Ocarus. That is awesome. I know you're talking about being an orc and just removing them from the head, from their body, and that is fine. Even though when I play, I totally play Imperium, Dark Angels, and a wannabe Sisters player. I kind of like killing Space Marines as well. I mean, I feel like half of them are traitors, even though they serve the Imperium. So let's spray some flesh wash on there. They're all traitors. Both are true. I also paint a bunch of stuff. This is probably the most I've focused on Space Marines on this. This being my third time streaming. I have a giant P3 galleon somewhere around here that you can't see, as well as this dwarf bust that I have been working on slowly. Sculpted this guy, and now I am also trying to paint him up. Working on his armor right now. And then you hear clang as I set this guy on the piano. I have a Thomas Jefferson bust right now that I beat the hell out of. Really just trying to practice some more bruising and blood. But I can get these. Yeah, I guess I sculpt. I sculpted one time, and I really enjoyed it, so I plan on sculpting more. The scale is huge. It's like 1/4 scale, so it would take 4 of these guys to equal 1 dwarf, I guess. Anyway, so I plan on sculpting more. I've only sculpted once so far, and I am currently out of Sculpey to sculpt more. So as soon as I get some, which will be after Christmas, I will be sculpting on the channel as well. So clean out the airbrush so I can get on to skin color. Yeah, man. Like I'm pretty excited to be sculpting on here. I'm excited to be sculpting in general. I feel like I'm a really shitty painter, to be honest. I am slow, thus the name Dave Paints Slowly. My name is Dave. There's a million of us. I have trouble blending, so I use oil paints and awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I'm shitty at blending acrylics, so I airbrush, I use oils, I use pigments, things that totally cheat. And I figured I'd just try my hand at sculpting for the hell of it, and it came a lot more naturally than painting has. I'm stoked about that. I think I've said stoked like 4 times now. It's like I'm a surfer from the 80s. So, somewhere in this big old mess of paint bottles, I have some P3 Flesh Wash. Bam, right there. P3 Flesh Wash. This stuff is okay. I don't love it as a final flesh wash. Like, I feel like it's actually too tan and too red. It looks like the guy's been burnt. Like, that would be the color of very, very sunburned skin. So I use it for very, very bottom layers, mostly. Some Future, because I love this shit. And the thinner has gone missing. There it is. Backflow them to mix. So here's where you can kind of see. I'll zoom in a little bit. Not zoom, I'll focus better on it. Backlight just adjusted. Okay, you can kind of see that. That's how thick it is. You can totally see through it. The idea is that like the underpainting that I have done so far will show through with the blue and the red and the yellow on the forehead that you can't see, and that is fine because I don't want them to look super sick. Spraying from, I guess you can totally see that. Awesome. Farther than I need to, but I'm just trying to get the skin to be skin colored. Tis better to do multiple light passes, so they say. To me, that means I used all my paint. Probably all of my hands. Right all up in here. So, I have no idea. I actually can't see who's all following, who's in the chat room right now. But if you're out there, how you guys doing? Enjoying the Friday before Christmas, the Christmas Atom, as they call it. My wife has been fond of saying that today. I won't be streaming very often weekday days. I took the day off of work, and started fucking with my sound and video, and now I want to get in here and like actually see if it's worth watching, and apparently it absolutely is. So oh shit, sorry if I set up. Still a little bit blue in the face, but so we may have to jump to something more opaque than this wash. Which I'm fine with. So as he stands right now, like I could throw this guy on the table and people are like, man, you painted that guy so good. And I'd be like, no, I totally didn't. You have no idea what you're looking at. But I wouldn't say that because I'm a nice guy, and also because I don't have faith in my own painting skills a lot of the time. So yeah, let's knock down his flesh a little bit. I think I'll use a basic flesh tone, pretty thin, and then I'll hit it from the top with a. Actually, no, I think that'll be good. And we maybe try to do some eyes. I'm really, really bad at eyes on small models. I think everybody is. And it might be good to get in there. So on Space Marine Bearheads, because of the scale, because of the heroic proportions, you can totally get away with not painting eyes. You just get in there with a little bit of wash, and you say, hey, he's got the dark, brooding eyes of a Space Marine. He has seen some shit. But we're not going to do that. Actually, I'm really happy with it. This guy is at. Kind of. I mean, there's some fuck-ups, but... yeah, so basic skin tone. Not even lying. Rayon model color, basic skin tone. Garnet base. Meat base? This is Vallejo's meat base. It looks like flesh. I guess that's accurate. I mean, it looks like meat. It's pretty yellow. So we're going to run it really, really thin. Keep saying that. I like that I can see like the cup really clearly on my feed. Get some. So I'm using a rubbing alcohol to clean. Breaks down really well. Why did I put the? Right. So if you've been following along, I've dropped the previous color right into the cup, and I should have continued to do that, but I didn't. So we'll take advantage of that and treat it like I know what I'm doing. Just some water. There goes my stirring thing. Get the paint all up in there. And right into the cup. So there's the color I'm working with now. It looks white. It's not. It is not thick enough, that's for sure. There we go. So you can kind of see where I'm at on that here. It's kind of a fleshy, whitish color, Caucasian. I guess is the proper terminology on these guys. I mean, I'm white. This is whiter than me. So I'm not gonna go on really heavy. Just gonna get more of a unified color in there. So the downside to using Future as a thinner is it is a gloss varnish, so everything ends up looking kind of glossy. Which means at some point you've got to go in and you got to knock it down. Knock down the gloss, knock down the shine, because you start seeing false highlights that don't really exist. False. Um, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I forget what I put in my airbrush. So, thinner, future. Yeah, like you're using future to make your matte lacquer. The answer is yeah, I am. Matte varnish, if you will. Vallejos. So I have Hispanic neighbors. One of which is a model painter. He works on like tanks and boats and shit. And he says Vallejo, and I figured that's probably more accurate than Vallejo. Anyway, so yes, I use Future as a thinner for my matte lacquer, matte varnish. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but I've had good results. Maybe it becomes more satin. So this guy kind of has a birthmark thing on his head. Airbrush stand right there. See this. Some discoloring on his pate, and that's from me over spraying at one point, and then me touching it with my finger like a professional. But that's fine. So I think we need to give him some lip color. I'm fine with this really, really blue 5 o'clock shadow he has going on for right now. May have overdone the blue, but we can probably bring it back. And I want to give his forehead some love. People like the big, deep forehead creases on Space Marines. His eyes are totally impossible to hit, so I'll probably drop some just really, really thin Nuln Oil in there with a really small brush, and maybe I'll try to like darken up his eye bags because he's had a bad day. So far though, if you're following along, I did this mostly with an airbrush, and I would be totally content plopping this guy on a tabletop. But we're going to take it one step further at least. It's a little bit pale. I don't know if you guys do this, like you compare it to yourself if you're a pink person like me. So, lips. For my lips, I really, really like this Old West Rose by Reaper. The guy ends up like with really, really warm looking lips. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Reaper paint line at all. But supposedly they're made for glazing. This is where you get to discover that I'm really, really bad at painting. But I can't glaze. So, if one of you painters out there wants to call me out on it, I am fine with that. Bam. I'm surprised how clear that washing sound is. Actually, I'm not surprised. My audio source is right below it. I should probably put a mature flag on my page. for this next comment alone. So there's an old joke that the color of your lips is the same color as the head of your dick. And then the joke has a picture of a guy that's all like, and it finishes by saying, I didn't realize brooding was a color or something like that. But that is totally the way that I determined that this is the best lip color. This brush is too big. This brush is too big. I love you guys can see the shit happening in the background. I'm not going to drop models, but I'll drop everything else. It's a very curved, speaking of penises, very, very curved brush tip here. Goes in looking all rougey. When I was a child, I spelled rogue, rouge. I was an X-Men fan, and apparently that's how it worked in my head. He's got fancy lips. Maybe I can knock that down with some Nuln Oil or something too. So let's try to do some highlights, some actual paint before I start washing. People like that. I like that. And so that might be a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna go with some Scale 75 Fantasy Games and Moonray Flesh. I don't use this very often. Oh, you're shaking that up. Now that I've done that, put it in the same place because palette real estate's a big deal. So I have a bad habit of using the same rinse water for everything. I need to get better at not using it for my metallics because mica flakes floating in there is no bueno. I like to justify it by saying James Wapple kind of does the same thing and then uses his rinse water as his final wash. I'm not sure that's truly accurate, but it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I actually kind of know what I'm doing. I don't. So we're just going to try to get some really, really subtle highlights on places that we expect them. Maybe I'll go back in and knock this down with some more. I'm going to knock this down. Some chin action. Oh shit, you guys can't see that. Still can't see that. The balls of his manly ball chin. I called it a ball chin. get his ear. Everybody loves their ears. Okay. Let's get some flash wash all up in here. If you heard me say earlier I don't like flash wash, sentiment is still true. And yet I use it. I'm gonna mix a little bit of my red in here with it. A little bit of that. And there's the color of my wash. Looks adequate. The problem with flash wash and zenithal priming, problem with colored washes in general and zenithal priming is if you fuck it up, your washes are going to end up overpowering like the actual dark areas. I have faith that is exactly what's going to happen. Think about this like strong bursts of color where you really don't want it. I totally just fucked up again and smudged it with my finger. Kind of looks like a drag queen. So yeah, that's what we're working with. This is my Space Marine head. It looks kind of plain. Let's back it up. Focus. There we go. Do some Nova oil. Everyone's favorite wash. If you disagree with me, leave a comment in chat. We'll fight about it. That wasn't a whole lot, so I'm just gonna drop some Future way over here on the palette. You probably can't see it. Maybe you can because of the way the light hits it. Get some water. Put that somewhere else and bring it in. It's a little bit dark, but it should be fine. Like I said, I'm going to go in, try to knock his lips down with it. So your top lip, when you're painting these guys, in case you're wondering, this is a not comfortable place for me to be painting. But I'll get to it. So your top lip is going to be darker than your bottom lip. And you can achieve that through zenithal priming, and then again, just through dropping a thin wash in the lip recess. Do the same thing to the eyes. I don't want to deal with painting the eyes. Just gonna drop some oil right there in the little eye. I'm gonna just darken this one so it's capillary action it back out. Yeah. What do I have in the airbrush right now? Right now in the airbrush I have cleaner. Smells like future. Smells like lacquer. So Hannibal, I don't like painting Space Marines. I have not painted any of the bodies. I paint the heads to practice painting heads, so then I can turn that over to games I enjoy more, such as Hordes and Malifaux. So ultimately, what I plan on doing is just finishing this guy up to a highest tabletop standard or better, and throwing it on eBay, a couple bucks plus shipping, and let somebody else reap the benefits of me not wanting to paint. Reap the benefits of me wanting to practice painting. I feel like there are people out there that don't want to paint and would like to have decent heads. That said, I do have a Dark Angels army that I could throw this onto. It's like everyone who got Dark Vengeance, I have a lot of Dark Angels, and it is a special custom chapter of my own devising, but because that's what everyone who plays Space Marines does. So they either go like straight fluffy, or they're like, this is my own custom chapter. I'm running Fallen. It has allowed me to run Chaos Codexes. I don't know. I painted some Space Marines, but not the body for this particular head, because this particular head doesn't have a body associated with it. I'll probably just sell it for a couple of dollars. So if you're interested in buying a painted Space Marine head, I have an eBay shop with one on there right now, and this one will definitely go there as well. Once I get the balls, I'll post about it. So I'm just going back over with the flash wash to unify some more of the coloring. Maybe get some more in the recesses and make all things happy. I'm actually really happy with this guy. I think I'm going to call him done-ish. So he has that dag-blasted rivet on his head. If there's one place I'm going to fuck this guy up, it's going to be right there. Kind of has a weird groove on his... Oh, I totally forgot to add green to the eyes. We can do that, and we can do it subtly. Subtle being the key of all of this. So we use model wash for green vehicles, because vehicles are totally subtle. I'm going to get most of this really, really thin wash off of my thumb. So you can see that? Cool, you can see that. Go really, really close with the hooked part of my shitty brush. Just add a little bit of green wash to the bag in the corner of his eye. Enough that you possibly can't see it. It makes me feel better. Just check him out a little bit more. Darker flash wash. I'm going to go around points where the armor is touching the body. Around his ear here. I guess that would be his ear. Does he jack into this thing? I'm unsure how this works. Around his actual ear to get some sexy up in there. Drop a little bit back in the ear recesses. And then I debate. Actually, I think I'm done debating. It is 1:30. So Hamand, I started painting minis probably 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I didn't seriously start really practicing stuff. Like, this is just a practice mini. A lot of the things that I do is just practice. Until the start of 2016, I went to the Las Vegas Open this last year entirely for painting. I spent way too much money and way too much time painting miniatures. I took a lot classes that I didn't know were below my skill level until I was there. Because I had not taken a single class, I had not really done any sort of competing, so I didn't know where my skill level was, and I don't really play anything. So I don't really play. Let me rephrase that. I play in Utah. We have some ridiculously skilled casual painters who repeatedly beat me in our local best painteds and shit. So I really didn't know where I was at. Oh yeah, come on, they totally have classes for this. So if there are, I'm not sure where you're based, but in the States, I believe there are classes at Gen Con, ReaperCon, Adepticon, and the Las Vegas Open. There is an attempt to get up painting classes here in Salt Lake for the Salt City Gladiator games, but I don't believe we've had any real classes for it. Then if you are in the UK, as I know that the UK is a whole lot closer to people in the UK than the States, Massive Voodoo is out there, and they do painting classes. So in California. Yeah, so the Las Vegas Open in February might be a good one for you to hit up. I believe there are also some Californian cons, but I don't really know. I should go out there more often. I'm fairly close here in Utah. I find it interesting that our states are the size of other countries, but we're yeah, Utah's totally close to California. Then you probably have okay, you started a month ago. So I don't know. Like, do you feel comfortable sharing a picture of what you have done so far, or if you don't feel comfortable, I don't blame you at all. I've got some terrible minis somewhere that I could share, but I have no idea where they're at. Uh, yeah, painting is awesome. Not only can you watch people on Twitch, but I've watched like full seasons of shows painting. I've listened to a ton of audiobooks while painting. Yeah, please post a link. I haven't turned it off. If anybody else is watching, this is actually going to give me an excuse to try out a different setting on the webcam thing here. So, mouse is not where I wanted it to be. I'll move this so you can see my face. Okay. So let's move me and sources, screen capture, and I want to capture this screen. You see it? I cannot see it. I have no idea how the software works. It's gonna kill me. Or maybe it's... Nope. Not even sure what I'm doing now. Anyway, while I wait for Ramon to post a link, I'll go back to painting. What I was going to say before I got all caught up in Hamon's painting is that I'm actually considering heading off because it is 1:30 here and I haven't had lunch yet, so I'm getting kind of hungry. There we go. So, let's see if I can make this work. It isn't working. So, let's figure something else out. Yep, can't see that. You can see my mouse. So I'm just going to copy this stuff locally. Desktop, sources, other, file, desktop, that. There we go. Let's get this nice, big, and sexy. That looks really, really good, Hamond. Way better than my second ones. That is for sure. Oh, don't be sorry one bit. You now have however many people are watching my feed, they get your. Let's add some text. H-A-M-A-N-D. Let's make this way smaller because, my God, that is huge. I'll figure this out and I'll be really happy about it. By Hamond. Yeah. Totally professional up here. Dragon by Hamond. Put this over here. see it now. You got all the credit for it. Okay, so yeah, that is highlights. I'm gonna get over here. Hopefully, you can still hear me. My microphone is way over there. So highlights. The thing about them is you can totally push them up crazy high, and if you are really not okay with how high you get them, you can wash them back down. So it's not unheard of to push like highlights all the way up to even white and use washes to wash them back down. This is excellent though, man. Like I said, way better than my second mini, way better than my 20-second mini, I'm sure. It looks like you're using a black wash across the board, and I would suggest getting like a brown wash or something for his chest area, for your yellows, and maybe even your whites. But otherwise, man, this is killer. Good job. Good job. So I'm gonna leave that up so you guys can see it while I clean up my brushes and stuff, and I'll just talk while you guys. If you guys have questions, kick them out to me. I'm gonna clean my brushes up and go get some lunch and play with the new puppy and maybe watch TV or something for a bit. But I wanted to try out the new. Oh yeah, you are so welcome, Haman. Thank you for sharing. Is it Haman like I don't know how to. Or is it like Hammond, like the organs? Haman like Amon from Korra, The Legends of Korra. Or it's something else. I could be butchering your name. It could be Hammond. Hamhand. I hope it's Hammond, that I haven't butchered it totally awfully. So, ham and cheese, so it's Hammond. So I'm sure that, like on here or elsewhere, people just call you Ham or Hammy or whatever. I know watching me clean brushes is super exciting, so I don't even have the video up. So, ham and cheese. How did you get into miniature painting? I'm always curious, especially when one of the first things that I see is what looks to be a Dungeons and Dragons miniature, and not like a Games Workshop wargaming miniature. The way I got into mini painting is entirely through Dungeons and Dragons. Like we were a group that used miniatures, and I loved painting them. So I started following a whole bunch of blogs about painting, and if you do that, you'll notice that most of the things that people paint are wargaming miniatures. And eventually, I just had to bite the bullet and get into that for the sake of conversions, because conversions are something that I really enjoy doing. And there aren't a lot of bits that are the right size for Reaper miniatures or D&D miniatures in general. So, and then I owned miniatures for 40K probably for a year or so before I actually played the game. And the same held true for Hordes as well. I think Malifaux is the only game that I bought miniatures intending to both paint and play. And I love the shit out of Malifaux. All around. Like the gameplay, the aesthetic, the whatnot. We can talk about that some other time. But yeah, if you're still here, how did you get into painting miniatures? I started playing with board games, and my friends then got into D&D. Then from there, I quit playing video games and had some time on my hands and started watching YouTube videos on it, and would go to my local game shop and ask questions. That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. There's some great board games that have miniatures as well. I have a whole bunch of Shadows of Brimstone miniatures. If you like board games and miniatures. Descent is another good one for minis. I don't have the game. It's within my friend group of games. We haven't even played it. Or then there's Kingdom Death, but I strongly recommend holding off getting into Kingdom Death stuff until you know you're actually sure of that this is what you want to be doing, because you're looking at a lot of money. The miniatures are amazing, but they're expensive. Oh, that's cool that your daughter does it. If you don't mind me asking, how old is your daughter? I have an 11-year-old son. He is autistic. He has painted a couple miniatures with me, and he seems to really enjoy it. Oh, Imperial Assault. I have not played that. It is popular around here, but I haven't played it. And then so yeah, my son, she's 9. 9's a great age. 9 is a great age. Not as cool as 3. I think 3 is my favorite age for kids. But 9's a good age to get them painting. If your daughter is like my son, they keep trying to wet blend. They don't realize they're wet blending. It's just a whole bunch of wet paint on wet paint on wet paint. That's awesome, man. I hope you have a good time painting tonight. I think that's the key of it is have fun. If something gets too frustrating, like, don't keep doing it. If you don't want to push your miniatures to like a competition level, then don't. People might judge you for that. Those people don't matter. If you don't want to paint tabletop level, then don't. We got into this hobby to have fun, and a lot of people ruin that for other people by judging them, by holding each other to different standards. I'm guilty of it. I don't like playing against gray plastic as much as I like playing against painted models, and sometimes I have been guilty of shaming my opponent about that, and it's not cool. Don't let people ruin what you love. That's what I'm trying to say. I love to paint and take my time, and friends want to paint fast. Oh. That's rough. So what you could do, though, is you utilize that time of like speed painting, if you will, to like work on like single techniques. Oh yeah, I've loved taking lots of time on miniatures. I use oil paints a lot. That kind of forces you to slow down, because they take a long time to dry, to cure. Actually, they don't even dry. They off gas until the oils in them have cured. So you end up having to take a week or so on the minis, but you end up getting awesome blends that way. I will be painting with oils at some point on this channel. I like them on bigger miniatures because it's the way that I paint with them. It's easier, but I have used them on tabletop minis. Oh yeah, you can totally use oils. They're weird. Like, you don't want to use them as like your base coat. I do oils over acrylic, so I get all my base coating done with oils with acrylic. Sorry. As much with the airbrush as I can. Mainly because I'm sloppy and I'm lazy, and it is a quick way to get decent looking fades. And then I'll go back in with oils and clean stuff up, or make things darker or brighter. The upside to oils versus acrylics is you end up with a ton more working time. so you can massage out like a transition for hours or literal days if you need to. If you put too much on there, there are some downsides as well. The drying time is a downside. You can smudge stuff really easy. Is an airbrush a good buy? I absolutely recommend an airbrush. I jumped into the airbrush realm with the cheapest I could possibly go. I got a Harbor Freight siphon dual action airbrush for like $30. It was on sale, and I bought one of their industrial air compressors because I knew that I would use one of their air compressors for like bikes and shit like that. And my poor wife had to deal with me having an industrial air compressor in my office. I haven't looked back. I run and I bought an Eclipse for most of my work, and then I have a Badger Sotor 2020 for more detailed work. The thing about the 2020 is if you watch Amazon, there's a site called Camel. You can watch Amazon prices, and when it drops below a certain point, you can buy it. All right. Well, have a good afternoon painting with your friends. Thanks. I hope to see you back here. And adios, man. What I was saying, if you come back, watch the video later. You can watch Amazon for price drops, and occasionally the Sotor 2020 will drop below $100. Pick that up as soon as you can. It's an amazing brush for $100. It's an amazing brush to begin with. Anyway, hope you guys had fun talking to me today, this morning. I am out of here. I've cleaned my brushes. It's time for me to go eat some lunch. Hope you enjoyed what I was doing. I definitely enjoyed what I was doing. Adios. Let's get it all the way in the camera. Bye.